You are the cap for whatever goes on in your store, in your company, in your district, in your household. However excited you are, what you believe is possible, whatever that threshold is. Team, welcome to the Charge Forward podcast. I'm your host, Jim Cripps, and I have a special guest for you today. She is a Nashville treat. She is absolutely helping businesses grow their social media content and reach out to more customers and their influence. Miss Jordan Grubbs, founder and CEO of Influence Media Marketing Company here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Thanks so much for having me on the podcast, Jim. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Now, we've worked together a couple of times.
Yes.
We have a mutual client, and I'll just go ahead and give her a shout out. Miss Valerie Kemp. She's fantastic.
The best. We love Valerie.
We do love Valerie, and you guys just did a photo shoot and a video shoot there.
Yeah, we did. Last month, we had to squeeze it in before tax season really took off.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will just dive into the first thing first, in my opinion. It is great to see you thriving and doing great work for your clients. And you just, last year, about this same time, welcomed your first child into the world.
Yes.
And so many people would use that as an excuse as to why they can't continue to run their business or can't continue to serve their clients. And it's been fantastic to see how you've kind of put the pieces together in order to be able to do both and do both very well.
Yeah, it was a challenge. It was a learning curve, and I'm 26 too. Some people are like, oh, is that a teen mom? No, I'm 26. But yeah, it was definitely crazy. It was a learning curve. I'm a little bit of a workaholic, so is my husband Hunter, and I may or may not have been sending emails in the hospital while I was in labor. But yeah, it's been a challenge, but I've grown a lot, and I've finally, probably at the start of this year, found a good balance on both being a mom and being a business owner and still making time for my husband and myself and my hobbies. So we're in a good spot right now. So it took a minute to get there, but we're in a good spot now.
I love it. Well, one of my past guests as well, Miss Carissa Oakey. So she owns a business, then she's a partner in another business. And she has 5 children, and her husband is in special forces, so he is quite often around the world defending our freedoms. And, I love seeing not just young women, but parents who thrive while thriving as parents,
Yeah, it's definitely been... I have a really great village, so I probably wouldn't have been able to do it without my village. Hunter's really great. He has a flexible schedule, which is helpful. Mm-hmm. My parents live 30 minutes from me. They're over here in Brentwood. We have a nanny who comes like 3 days a week, and my friends, I'm like the first of all my friend group to have a child, so they're always like, we can watch him whenever. So it's definitely helpful. And a lot of my clients are understanding because some clients I'm more comfortable with. I'm like, can he come with us to lunch? They're like, of course, we want to see him, and you're just a plus, I guess. It's like, okay. And I joke with my friends, I'm like, he's gonna have 10 years of marketing experience by the time he's 10. Like those entry level jobs that are like 10 years experience, entry level. He'll be like, I got those 10 years. I'm ready. So.
Well, I do think it's important in order to be able to speak and to talk and not just be a text and that kind of thing. There's so many of Castle, our son's friends, that we go to a restaurant and they can't order for themselves. And that's so foreign to me because, Castle was probably 5 when we started having him order instead of us. Mm-hmm. And so... I do think it's important for people to let their kids fend for themselves and figure it out and those types of things. And taking them to meetings and them needing to act a certain way. And at the same time, throwing them in it, have them answer some questions as they get older. I think it's good.
Yeah, I love it. I was always thrown into, a lot of my family is business owners. And so from a very young age, I was like always, in the background of their store or studios, and I was just there as a child, and I loved it. So hopefully my son enjoys it as well.
Okay. So let's go down that path just a little bit. So you've got a family of entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And so was it just second nature for you to own a business, or did you work for anybody to start off with, or how did that all come to play?
Yeah, it was really just second nature. Entrepreneurship feels like home for me, and that's why too I work with specifically small businesses, because that feels like home too. Like, I'm so used to being part of like a team of all these things, and so it's just so natural and feels like home kind of when I go to all these separate businesses and get to be part of their team. But yeah, I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, and then we moved back to Paducah, Kentucky when I was 2, which is where a lot of my family is. And my grandparents own a sewing machine store, English is Sewing Back, and my mom owned a consulting company, and my other aunt and uncle own a martial arts studio, and then my grandparents on my dad's side owned a couple of gas stations and grocery stores. So, and then there's been some failed startups, well, not failed, but like businesses that have come and gone within my family too.
Learning
opportunities. I've had some myself. But yeah, just growing up around that, I would run around my grandparents' sewing machine store and warehouse when I was in elementary school. They'd pay me to box bobbins for them up front, and I remember cleaning like the mats in the martial arts studio when I was in middle school, and yeah, I just had a hand in all of their businesses, and I loved it. It was so fun. It was so fun to me.
Okay, and so how long have you been in business?
I've been technically in business since 2019.
Okay, all right. So we got year 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Founded in 2019. I went to Belmont University for marketing and entrepreneurship, and they have one of the best entrepreneurship, I think it's the top 25 entrepreneurship programs in the country. And so their program is really cool because their classes are designed to be a launch pad for your company. So during my classes, I worked on influence and founded in 2019, graduated in 2020, and it was able to set me up for success. So I could just be like, oh, here I am. We have everything ready. Let's go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, oddly enough, and I don't know if you've heard of this or not, but Williamson County has the EIC, which is the Entrepreneur and Innovation Center.
Oh, cool.
In fact, obviously not while this is airing, but in real time, Jeremy Qualls, his episode, it ended up being 2 parts. So the first part aired last Thursday, and the second part's airing this Thursday. And they're doing the same thing for high school.
Oh, I love that so much.
And some of them, so the program is only 6 years old, but last year they won the national championship, which is like the best business presentation and, business that is launching. And that young man is already doing big things. In fact, his largest client, I think, is in Italy or somewhere overseas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that so much. I would have been so into that. I did end up graduating from Ravenwood. We moved back in 2015. So I graduated in Williamson County, and I'm sure they work with Ravenwood if they're in Williamson County.
Oh, yeah.
Great school, but that's super awesome. I'll have to look into that because I love that so much.
Well, and they're always looking for mentors. So that would, probably be a great space for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to reach out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in your brand and in your business, who is your ideal client? What does that look like for you?
My ideal client is small to medium-sized service-based businesses around the Middle Tennessee area. I work with a couple of remote clients. I love the remote clients I work with. It's not my favorite to do remote work. I like to have my hand in the process from ideation to creation to posting it online. And so having them in the Middle Tennessee area, which is where I'm from, allows me to go physically to their business once a month or however often in our contract, and I get to take their content. I take their video, I take their photos, I talk with them in person to build the relationship, and I get to really get to know their business and their personalities, and knowing all of that helps me present them online way better than I would be able to a remote client.
Yeah. And you can see that in the content. And then what do they typically come to you for?
Normally, they start with social media. So my most popular package is 3 times per week we post on Instagram and Facebook, and then repurpose onto like TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, all the platforms. And then from there, because a lot of small businesses typically don't have their own marketing team, from there they also are like, oh, do you do websites? Do you do newsletters? Do you do blogs? Do you do Google ads? Do you do Facebook ads? So from the social media seed, I've expanded a little bit. So now we do websites and ads and copywriting and things like that.
Okay.
But social media is normally what they come first for, and then they end up needing more services. So we've expanded from there.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so what would you say is your best success story with growing somebody's social media?
So my best, I can't take credit all by myself because this person's really hardworking and ambitious, but I did have a hand in her success. She was kind of my first client who wasn't from here. She's actually a remote client, contrary to what I said that I do, but her name is Nicole Heel. She just got married, so that's not her last name anymore. And I work with her as a consultant now, but I helped her grow her TikTok from 0 to 1,500, and then she had like one viral video. I was doing just some editing for her and consulting, so I wasn't like fully, I mean, she's very ambitious and she would post and stuff, so I consulted her. I was like, okay, you have one viral video, let's double down on this, let's post, let's keep the consistency going, because once you kind of get one viral video, and if you're able to keep that up, you'll grow really fast. And so I was just kind of helping her, giving her the ideas, consulting her. She also had a team, and she actually grew so big that she was like, hey, like, I think I'm going to have to go with another marketing agency, because I mean, as a freelancer or as a smaller agency, I have my hand in a lot of different businesses, so I couldn't like give my full attention there.
Sure.
So I was like, no, girl, like, go you. I'll be here for the little projects and stuff, and I still help her out with, like, I repurpose her stuff onto YouTube and Pinterest and stuff like that. But yeah, she killed it. But seriously, can't take credit for it all, because it takes a really awesome and determined, ambitious client to do that too, because especially since she was remote, she was posting like the multiple times a day that she needed to post and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
And do you see, is there such thing as posting too much, or what is ideal, or is it specific to each business?
It's definitely specific to each business. I would say the most you can post where quality meets consistency is going to be the best. So if you can post, it doesn't have to be like the most polished commercial ready video, but if you can post 3 times a day and that is quality content, you're going to grow faster than somebody who posts like once a week. But it's got to meet that. Like, you can't just put up dumb stuff just for the heck of it. Like, it does kind of need to have a little bit of a strategy behind it, at least. But yeah, it's different for everybody. But the more you can post consistently that is some sort of a quality, you're going to see faster growth than others who aren't posting as often. Cool.
And one of the fun things that we're gonna do here later in the show is you're gonna take a look at mine and just tear me to shreds. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. If I'm doing anything right, I may not be doing anything right. You never know.
No pressure.
Right. So what do you think? I mean, obviously, growing up with a background with your parents and grandparents, and most of your family owning businesses, it was a pretty easy transition for you. Where was the moment where you're like, you know what, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
There's been a couple of those moments, because in college, I actually went to school to be a musician. Okay.
So we started down a different path.
Yeah, we started out, as everyone does at Belmont, music business, and I discovered that I liked that as a hobby more than a career path. And so I switched to entrepreneurship, and I had it in my mind. I was like, coffee shop. going to open a coffee shop. And I actually had an opportunity to franchise a coffee shop that originated out of Paducah. I don't want to say any names, I don't know. But he was like, you know, it'd be really cool if you franchised this to Nashville, but we didn't see eye to eye on, he was like, entrepreneurs don't have to finish college. Like, you don't have to go to college to be an entrepreneur. And so I kind of like left that behind. And then I was the student assistant for the Center of Entrepreneurship. So I got that job. I applied. I got the job. It was so fun. I got to sit in the office with the director, and I ran the social media, and I ran the blog, and I ran the website. And that was my first like real taste of like doing that as a job. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And I loved being in there with the professors, because I'd know all the tea that was going on. Like, they'd come and like talk to things about the like stuff going on to the director, and then they'd look at me and be like, this isn't repeated. This isn't repeated. I'm like, my mouth is sealed, my lips are shut. But it was so fun because I got to have like a really awesome relationship with the professors, and I still keep in contact with them to this day. My friends were all mostly in the entrepreneurship program too. We were little teachers' pets, but that's okay. We all still stay in contact with our entrepreneurship professors, and it was so much fun. But from there, in college you do a lot of odd jobs. So I was also a Disney princess at birthday parties.
Okay.
And one of those gigs was a mermaid at this wedding venue, the Estate at Cherokee Dock. So I went, gorgeous place. Gorgeous, loved it so much. I was just a mermaid sitting in the guitar-shaped pool. The Estate at Cherokee Dock is Reba McEntire's old house.
Okay.
And so I followed them on social media, and then like they immediately posted a week later, we're looking for a social media manager. And I was like, I'm going to shoot my shot. And so I applied, sent them my resume. They said, come interview. I was hired on the spot. And that is when I really like, because at the Center for Entrepreneurship, I did things other than social media. That was just my favorite thing to do. Like, I helped manage the student-run businesses, and, you know, there's like paperwork and plan events. But this, I was specifically posting on social media. Sure. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. And that's when I was like, okay, I want to do this. This is what I want to do full time. This is my passion. So that's kind of where the love for social media bloomed. Okay.
And so did you work for them, or at that point were you a business already and they hired you as a business, or how did that work?
I worked for them. So I think they hired me in 2017 or 2018, and I was their intern under their payroll. And I did social media since I was still in college. I went there like once or twice a week, and I got to go to these really cool weddings. And they actually put on Hunter and I's wedding as marketing in 2020, which was crazy. And then in 2021, I was starting to get some of like my own clients, and they knew what I was doing. In November 2021, trying to get the years right, they sold to a larger wedding venue company. And then from there, I was like, okay, this is my sign. Because I got offered a job with that company, but I was like, no, I think it's time to take influence full time. So I took it full time in 2021.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I think some people, they struggle with that jumping off point. And so it's, you know, it's great that they, you know, obviously their situation changed a little bit. So it gave you a clear decision point for, hey, do I go in full on with influence, or do I keep a W-2 and continue to grow it?
Yeah, it was kind of hard because I mean, influence obviously wasn't full time yet. And so I had some conversations with Hunter and my family, and I was like, I think it's a sign. I think it's time. But I do miss the Cherokee Dock days, because there was like 7 or 8 of us on the marketing team, and we were like a family. We were so close-knit. 2 of them still work for me now for this day. Stephen and Kelly, they're 2 of my contractors. But they joke, they're like, we work for Jordan now. Like, sorry, guys. But yeah, it was a good... I'm really bad at being like, I don't know. I'm bad at those conversations, so I'm kind of happy that it happened for me, where I left like because they were selling and not because I was just like leaving. Because truly, it would have broken my heart if I like left and I saw somebody else take my place on the team. And like, I know it would have been the right decision, but it would have broken my heart. So it worked out very well.
I totally understand that. And I think a lot of people get caught in that. And I don't want to call it a trap, but it is to some extent, in that you feel a certain way about the people that you work with and the team and all those things, to the point where people will often not leave because they don't want to leave their team members behind and that type of thing. In fact, I built a team here in Nashville, and I worked there 4,321 days. And I grew a team of a little over 500 people. And probably the whole last year that I was there for the team, not necessarily for any other reason. It's just I had hired every single one of them, and I didn't want to leave them.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. And if you're someone too who just gets attached to your little family, it's like moving on or charging forward, it can be difficult.
It absolutely can, and that's where a lot of people get caught up. Well, now one of the themes in the Charge Forward podcast is people who default to charging forward where other people would give up. And so what's something, maybe an unexpected challenge that you've hit in your path that maybe seemed unsurmountable at that moment, but you definitely worked your way through?
Motherhood. That was, like, don't get me wrong, I knew having a child would be like a lot, but I don't think you know until you get into it, like, how much of your time, like, I look back and I'm just, how was I ever busy? How did I ever think that I was busy pre-child? Because I get way more done now than I've ever gotten done. And I thought I was the busiest person in the world before I had my son. And now I'm like, oh, honey, you didn't even know what was coming your way. So that was a lot. Hunter and I, our child was a little bit of a surprise. Like, we were open to the idea, but weren't, like, expecting it to happen so quickly. Right. And so we kind of were joking about it, and we, like, our relationship is we joke, we pull pranks on each other. We're very much, like, unserious. Like, we can be serious when we need to be, but we're unserious. And so I actually took the pregnancy test as, like, a prank because I didn't feel well, and Hunter's like, you're not pregnant, and I'm like, Actually, so I gave him the test. He was like, are you joking? I was like, no, sir. No, sir, I'm not. And we were like, oh, man. So I think that kind of was like, oh, my gosh. And so leading up to having our child, since I mostly work for myself, I have a couple contractors I work with, I had to, like, oh, shoot, I don't get a maternity leave as a business owner. All of these companies are relying on me for their social media. And so leading up to giving birth, I was working with companies. There was my biggest client ever. I was so excited to sign them, and they were we're not with them anymore. They were kind of a lot to deal with, but I was working like double. I was like, okay, you have an allotted amount of hours per month where I do content shoots. We doubled up before I knew I was going to give birth, so I could have like 2 or 3 months to recover. And I scheduled everybody's content out like in advance. And then when I went into labor, they knew this particular company was why I was sending emails while I was in the hospital with my epidural. I was like, please review this. And so I was like, okay, we got it. We worked ahead. We're good. And then once I brought my son home, they were like, we're pivoting and we're letting go of all of our contractors. Didn't have a contract with them because I liked the person. I thought I could trust them. And so not only did I have like this newborn that I was trying to like hold my company together, this is my biggest client, like almost all my eggs in one basket, like 60% of my income at the time. They were like, yeah, we let go of all of our contractors, sorry. And so all the work I had done to work ahead didn't matter because I didn't have a contract.
Got it.
And so that was a doozy, but it was a lesson learned, and it ended up being a really big blessing because they took the majority of my time. And so I got to spend that with my son. I got to spend like 4 or 5 months. Like I still had I had like maybe 4 or 5 smaller clients, and I had work I could do. But it was a blessing in disguise and a good lesson learned.
Yeah, I liken contracts very similar to being a landlord. And, one of the tough lessons that I learned was be a little bit more firm in the beginning, and then you can ease up if need be, but don't be a pushover in the beginning, because then it's gonna set a bad tone for going forward. And so having those contracts, getting the details ironed out up front is a big deal. And, obviously, because we both work with Valerie, I saw what you were doing there, getting kind of set up, making sure that you had content ahead of time so that none of your clients were missing content during you being out and adjusting to being a new mother. So as an outsider looking in, I think you did a great job of kind of teeing that up and making sure that, their content was continuing. Obviously, you had to plan a little bit ahead. They had to, come in, let's do some shoots and bring some extra clothes so that this looks like it was, filmed in real time. But I think it worked really well.
Yay! I'm so glad to hear that, because behind the scenes, I was like, what am I doing? Am I doing what I need to be doing to keep, it was very scary, because I was like, I'm the type of person who's like, okay, I'm sure I'm going to lose everybody. I'm going to lose all my contacts or my clients, but no, I'm very glad to hear that, because I tried very, very hard on that.
Well, I think it's the old analogy of the duck on the pond. I don't know if you know this one or not. So a duck looks like it's just gliding along, but underneath the water, it is feverishly paddling. So there's all kinds of things going on, but you see the calm on top of the water. And so I think you did that very well.
Yay, thank you. And that wasn't on either my support system. My mom, I joke, my mom's a project manager, and being raised by a project manager, you are very organized. And so she definitely helped so much. She was like, okay, here's the project plan. Here's the due dates. Here's what we're going to get done. We had a project plan for influence. We had a project plan for my life. We had everything that needed to be done at the house, everything I needed to get, all the showers and all the content and the content shoots and the hours I needed to make sure I was taking care of for my clients and so she was my lifeline during that, because having a person looking in from the outside when you kind of are drowning from the inside was very helpful. My mom is great.
That's fantastic. Well, so along those same lines, who would you say, other than your mom, has been a great mentor along the way?
Oh my gosh, my granddad, Keith English, might just be my favorite person in the world. It's the person I look up to most. He went through a lot of hardships when he was younger, but he's an entrepreneur. He's very much into self-help. He met Zig Ziglar, and he does
that's awesome.
Right? Is that not so cool? And he does his morning affirmations, and he's probably the most generous and kind and hardworking person I know. And oh my gosh, he loves our family so much. That's my mom's dad. And I don't know, he just sets a great example for what I want to be in life. And he gave me his collection of self-help books, which there's 6 of us grandkids, and we all, about half of us own our own businesses. Okay. And it's just all him. He's the one who inspired us to do that, and he's so awesome. I look up to him a lot. He's also the busiest busybody you've ever met. He's 80. I think for his 70 or 75th birthday, he took a video of him jumping from the floor onto a 3-foot stool. We're like, that's cool that you can do that, but please don't. But he's awesome. He never wants to sit down. He's still doing his thing, and I look up to him so much. That's fantastic.
So Nick Hyder, who owns this studio, so his dad, Mickey just turned 75, and kind of in that same spirit. So for his 75th birthday, he did 75 push-ups.
Yeah.
And so something definitely to be said for staying not just mentally sharp, but physically sharp as well.
Yeah, he's awesome. My husband Hunter, he's an ER nurse, and so every time he sees we call him Granddaddy, Granddaddy standing on a counter to put a light bulb in, he's like, he's on blood thinners. He just don't need to be up there. That's a tier 2 trauma. He's okay. He did have a stroke last year, but he powered through. No deficits, 0.
Wow.
So
Okay, so tell me a little more about him. So what does his routine look like? What is he doing in order to be sharp and fit and powering through a stroke at 80 years old?
He doesn't slow down. So my great-grandparents opened English's Sewing Back, and then he owned it, and then now it's like transitioning to my mom's brother, Joel English, and his wife Cassie, so 3 generations. And he gets up, he does his affirmations every morning. He looks in the mirror, and I can't remember all of it, but he has it memorized. He looks in the mirror, he's like, I'm Keith English, I'm kind, I'm generous, I love God, I do this, that, and the other. And he just reminds himself in the morning. And then he's a little more tired now after his stroke, but the man doesn't slow down. He fixes the sewing machines. He goes to, my aunt and uncle have like a kind of a farm situation. He goes, fixes stuff in their barn, fixes the light bulbs, does this, that, and the other. The man doesn't slow down. He hasn't slowed down. So I think he's just strong will, just keeps him going. So
I love that. Actually, my last guest that was sitting in that same seat is Larry Schmittou, and you may not know who Larry is. So Larry used to own the Sounds. And he's actually the reason the Nashville Sounds came here. It was him and Conway Twitty and Jerry Reed are really the 3 that put it all together to bring the Sounds here, because Larry was the baseball coach for Vanderbilt.
Oh, cool.
And so Larry's 84 years old, still goes to work 6 days a week. He did admit, it may only be 5 or 6 hours a day. He's like, but I've had so many friends that retired and then passed away because they didn't have anything to do, or they didn't have purpose. And so I think having purpose and just continuing is how people live a long and in a lot of ways a long and happy life.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
What would you say, other than the affirmations that we talked about, what if you had to take one thing that your grandfather does and say, that is something that inspires me, or that's something that I'm going to add, or I have added? What would you, if you had to distill that down to one thing, what would it be?
I'd say the constant learning. Like, he's always reading these self-help books. Like, in his collection, he's the reason I read, like, Think and Grow Rich and all that kind of stuff. So just the learning aspect. He's probably slowed down a little bit because he is 80, but he still has those books, like, right next to his lazy boy. And he reads them, and he gets inspired, and he likes them. And he has his hobbies, too. He has a garage out behind the sewing machine store, and that's where the vintage cars are. We call it the car museum. And so he'll drive around the little block and Reedland and Paducah with his like hot rods, and he likes that too. But yeah, definitely just the learning, continuing to better yourself, being open to bettering yourself. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. And any idea what kind of hot rods he has? Oh, I could not tell you. I can show you pictures after this, but they're cool. Okay. I don't know that much about cars. Well, we may have to introduce your granddad to my dad. Okay, yeah. Because Dad has 14 bays these days, and they're full. Oh, wow. In fact, Mom said, unless you build another building, yeah, you're done. You're done buying cars at the moment. But that's fun. We have to have our hobbies. You have to have an outlet. That's something that's really important. That thing that keeps us inspired. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what are you looking forward to the most? Like what's the next thing for influence, or the next thing for you that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to fill in the blank? Well, that's kind of tough because I've been trying to grow my business, and I have like a lot of inquiries, which is great. And I've had to like almost turn people away. I have a lot of inquiries right now, which is such a great problem to have. So it's been kind of like for the next 5 years, I'm kind of just trying to grow slow because Hunter and I do want more children. Mm-hmm. And we kind of want them not back to back to back, but like we want them within a decent age range of each other. So knowing what I know now about how I'm balancing business and mom life, I'm like, I can't really, if I still want to have a really good hand in my business and be successful and be able to give my clients what I need, I kind of have to hold steady for a while we, have our family too. But eventually I would like to kind of grow into an agency. I have some contractors who are in college, and I'd love to get to the point where I could hire Kylie and Kylie. Both of them, I love them so much. but I've tried to grow in the past, and then I've like hit this point, and then I like go back like this. It's really hard to jump from like just myself and these contractors to having another full-time person, and I'm trying to navigate that too, especially while being a mom, because I don't know, it's hard. So I'm trying to, that's the goal, to be a bigger agency, to grow, but at the same time I like having my hand in things. Like I like being involved with all my clients, so kind of figuring that out. But this is kind of on a smaller scale. This is my year of side quest. I want to do things. I want to like, I've had my main quest, I have my business, I have my baby, I have my family. I want to just say yes to some things and experience and learn, and if they're silly, that's fine. But that's kind of what I'm doing this year, because my business and baby's kind of balanced right now. Okay. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
So when you say a side quest, like what is something that's got you excited about saying yes to?
Hunter and I, we want to write a children's book. That's one of them. I think we're going to start with the ABCs of the ER. Even though we're both very different career-wise, we're like-minded in that we're very hardworking and ambitious, and we just like to say yes for things a lot of times just for the bit. Like, we love something that's like, oh, okay, right on. So I think that's going to be super fun. We owned a hat company one time. We don't own that anymore.
Owned a what?
A hat company.
Okay.
Yeah. That didn't work out.
We learned some things.
It was a lesson. So other things, I think we want to... Amazon print on demand, you could do so much. Mm-hmm. We kind of want to do like some funny t-shirts here and there. We're trying to we're in a competition on who can learn Spanish the fastest right now. He's winning. He gets to practice at work. But just things like that, things that are fun, that are going to push us forward, but aren't necessarily contributing to our main path in a direct line, if that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Remind me, I need to introduce you to Carissa Beal. Her last name's changed to Murray now.
Okay.
And so I think I won't say her son's name. I think he's about a year older than yours.
Okay.
And she wrote a children's Christmas book.
Oh, cool.
I think it's The Christmas Cookie Miracle. And so the cookies come to life.
Oh, cute!
And so it's a fun book. She did get it printed, and I think there's some things in the works for it to possibly become a cartoon or something like that. Yeah. So I need to connect y'all, because I think y'all would have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, so when you sit down with a new client, what are some common mistakes? What are some of the things that you see that people do that, they have good intentions, but maybe it's just not the right path, and it's one of the first things that you end up cleaning up?
A lot of the time, businesses kind of combine their personal accounts, and there's an extent I do want my client to be online. I want the personality to be online. I want the client, their target market, to know, and trust them to build. But it's to an extent. I've seen accounts where it's the product, a random family photo at the beach. Product. It's got to be done in a good way. And so I think I see that a lot of the time. It just the intention's there. It just needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
Okay.
And consistency, that is the main thing I always see. Consistency is the number one most important thing if you want to grow on social media. Quality is important, yes, but if you're not posting, you're not growing. Simple as that. And that's why they're calling me in. They want to be consistent online, but I see that a lot. It's hard to do if you're a business owner. I get it. It's hard to post on social media consistently, and that's why you bring in outside help.
And I see the same thing in podcasting. One of the first things that Nick and I talked about just right out of the gate, he said, if you're going to be successful in podcasting, you have to post, there has to be an episode every single week without fail. and those that don't are never going to really be successful with their content. And, some of the other podcasts out there that really kind of preach the same thing. I don't know if you've ever watched Diary of a CEO. Mm-mm. It's a great podcast, and, they make millions on their podcast. So, that's one of these days, that's the goal. But, they were in the same boat. It was just a toy until they committed to doing it every week. Mm-hmm. And so I think the same thing with social media is, and it can be challenging as a business owner myself. I can tell you, you're gonna rip me to shreds when you see my
it's
my
account. It's probably not as bad as you think.
Oh, I don't know. But it's got to be something you're committed to if you're actually going to use it as a tool. Yes,
and so often I see people like searching online, like how to grow on social media, blah, 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 and they roll their eyes when they hear consistency, but that is the number one thing. If you cannot get that down, you have no business trying to learn these expert level tips because you're not going to use them. You have to be consistent online. And if you can't be consistent, but you need the social media in your life, that's where outside help comes in. That's where a freelancer, that's where an agency, that's where hiring somebody comes in. Another mistake I see, if you're a brick and mortar business and don't have at least the city you're in your bio, that always throws me off too. Because I all the time I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh, this looks like a cool place. I wonder where they are. Click, don't see it, don't follow because I don't know. So if you're a brick and mortar and rely on local business foot traffic, or you're like a photographer wanting like Nashville clients, have your service area in your bio on social media somewhere, easily seen, easily accessible.
That's a great tip. A great tip. What is something else that you see is just overlooked?
It's really easy to, let me think real quick. I'm sorry. I'll try not to do like 3 minutes of this. Yeah. I think what's overlooked is trying to be too polished online. There was a time a couple years ago where being the most aesthetic and the most beautiful and having the most beautifully curated feed was like the thing to do. And I think a lot of people are still stuck in that, and that's the reason they don't post, because their content isn't perfect enough, their feed's not beautiful enough. We're kind of turning away from that. The consumer is tired of this over commercialized content, and they're wanting to see real people, real faces. That's why I encourage all my clients to show their face online, because your product or service could be really cool, but your client also wants to know you. They want to know who they're going to see when they walk into your business. They want to know your story. They want something they can get behind. And two, that's why series, I think I told you this on the phone the other day, series right now are so important. Multi-part series, something that is a story they can get to behind, that a consumer can follow for more and learn something that's valuable. It could be, a 20-part series of renovating your home. It could be a 10-part series on how to start a business. It could be a 5-part series on what you need to bring to your tax appointment. Like, series that people can follow to come back to are really important right now, because we're kind of transitioning. It used to be really easy to get likes and saves and stuff online on Instagram, but now I've noticed even some of these big accounts hardly even have hundreds of likes, and they'll have like 54,000 followers, and it's because people are just becoming watchers online. They're becoming watchers and scrolling, and they're not interacting. So having a reason for them to click that follow button or click that like button with a story, they might not initially love it, but the want of wanting to watch the part 2 of that series outweighs the mental, the action of you liking or following, and so they'll follow along because of the series.
Okay.
People they follow you to get something from you. Sure. It has to be educational, it has to be entertaining, it has to be valuable. They're following because they want something from you. It's got to be an exchange. It
does have to be an exchange. And, that's one of the reasons that I started the podcast is there's so many amazing people that we sit next to on the bus, or that we pass in a restaurant, or, our kids go to the same school, and you don't know how amazing that person is until you know. And so the goal of the Charge Forward podcast is to introduce people to other amazing people. And so, with you point blank, like it's what amazing things you are doing and that you see people doing with their social media, so that they can take I look at it like Legos. They can take this Lego that they got from Jordan and they can put it into their pile, and what can they do with that? What can they build on? How can they turn it into something amazing?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all in Nashville too. I think is so great about networking, at least in my experience. For most industries, there's specific industries where people are kind of like, nah. But for the most part, at least like, especially, in your network and community, like you've always been like super helpful and excited for new ideas. And I feel like most of the people I've talked to in the small business world are like excited and want these ideas and want to help other businesses grow. And I love that. It's such it's a great way to thrive when everybody's kind of helping each other and connecting each other.
Well, I think it also comes with maturity and confidence. People that manage out of fear want to hold their secrets, right? And then you have people that are confident enough in their ability and the things that they do that they're willing to give away their best practices. I think of Elon Musk just sharing, the patents from Tesla and saying, if you can do it better than me, do it. Use what I have. Or Volvo, however many years ago, that gave away the 3-point seat belt, so that it was like, no, we're going to help people be safer around the world. Take it, use it. Let's help save people together. Kind of the same thing in business. It's like, hey, I'm more than willing to give my best trick out there, and at the same time, if you will too, we'll both be better. So it's fun. And I think that's where, one reason that you're doing so well is because you were in a program that really set you up for that had that collaboration. Obviously you set yourself up to win by really kind of going, hey, I want to be a part of this while I'm in college. I want to be an integral part of all the things in the entrepreneur program, and that probably helped launch you into this faster.
100%. Charging forward, that's the hardest part. Taking the first step is the goal, and I think it's the hardest part, but everything else is gonna be easier after you finally like take the leap, take the step. And so Hunter and I are both pretty good about saying like yes, even if it's out of our comfort zone. So I think that part of our personality has really helped like drive my business forward and drive like our learning endeavors forward.
Okay. So you said you're both learning Spanish. Now, is there for a purpose? Are y'all doing a trip, or was it just a random side challenge? Or
we're both like really competitive, and so he has a lot of Spanish-speaking people he deals with in the ER. Yeah, ER, and his new gig that he is doing, a lot of patients are Spanish-speaking, and so he was starting to learn it like in Duolingo just because he needed to. And then he would be talking to me in Spanish, and I'm like, I can't understand you. And he loved that. We were trying to clean. He was like, "Donde is Swiffer?" I'm like, "It's in the closet." You literally know it's in the closet. Go get it. So kind of out of like, you're not going to beat me. I also took it upon myself to start learning. So that's how a lot of things happen. Like, we're a little competitive in the best way. We're like, gotta make each other better like that. So.
Okay. I like it. That's fun. All right. So if you will, on your phone there, take a look at mine. Okay. So it's on most of the things, it's Charge Forward Podcast. Okay. And don't hold back. Okay. And so, team, I will go ahead and say that I make some of the mistakes that she's already talked about.
It's okay. Being perfect kills the ability to be consistent. Like, I tell my clients all the time, it could be perfect, but you're never going to post it. Like, good and posted is better than perfect, and just sitting there, you have to take imperfect action. The first thing I'm seeing is it would be really great if you added some titles. So I'm seeing all these videos from your podcast, but if you kind of had like, so I know there's a title probably in your caption, but even if you just type it in ChatGPT or upload the transcript to ChatGPT, you can have like the hook be on the screen, like 5 tips on starting a business. So that way when people go in, and scroll on your reels, it's not just a bunch of faces. They're like, oh, this particular topic pertains to me. I'm going to click on it.
Okay.
Something that's super helpful is bingeable content. And this content probably is like, you know, when you binge a show on Netflix, there's people who like find a social media platform and they're like, oh, I love this person. And they like scroll through all their videos. You want that. But having somewhere, like if I was just looking at this, I wouldn't know what video to click on. Like what is this giving me? So if you had titles on the actual screen, like a cover with the title, that would, I think, help you a ton. Let's see. How we feeling about consistency? Okay. Do you try to post like three times a week?
Yes. I mean, I would love to post more than that, but it usually ends up, it's usually a couple clips from the podcast. As you can tell, probably a couple things that are more personal. So I'm kind of muddying the waters between the personal and the business, or the podcast and personal page.
Which is fine. As if you do it with intention, that's totally fine. But it is like, I'm not going to tell you not to post things, but it can be confusing when people are used to like all this podcast content and then they get like a basketball video and they're like, what? So if you tie it in, that's totally fine. But it can be confusing to some people who follow you.
Okay.
Stories are really important. Stories, you know, like Instagram stories. You've taken an Instagram story before. I always tell my clients, because that's one thing I can't always help clients with because I'm not there on the day-to-day. I'm like, you can send me stuff to post, but like stories don't have to be as curated as the feed content. So I tell them like post, or literally set a timer on your phone 3 times a day. One time in the morning, one time in the afternoon, one time in the evening. When that story goes off, or when that timer goes off, just post a story. Just post what you're doing. It helps you connect with your audience a little bit more, because people do watch stories, and it helps them kind of be like, oh, there's Jim. He's filming a podcast. Oh, there's Jim. He's doing some CrossFit. So it kind of just helps keep you top of mind without having to post like super polished content.
Okay. So, and I will tell you that I struggle with Instagram. So because I struggle with this answer, please tell me the difference between a story, a reel, a post, because it is blurry to me.
I got you. So stories are what shows up right here. You know, when there's like a circle, these are stories. Oh, let me go back to my account. I have 1 million accounts I'm logged into. So everything up here. Okay. A story. We can take a story right now.
All right.
Do you want to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, smile. I'll tag you.
All right.
So that's a story. That is super quick content. Charge forward podcast. There we go. That's a story. It's super quick, super informal content. And so then a reel is a type of post. So this is your feed, and this can be static photos, it can be carousels, which are the multi-posts that you have to swipe through, or it can be a reel, which are the videos. Okay. And so reels typically do show up in your feed, and you'll know it's a reel because you have this like little
tells you that it's a video.
Yeah, whatever those action
the
things are.
movie. Yeah.
That'll be in the corner if it's a reel, and then you have your own Reels feed if like somebody just wanted to go watch videos. These are just reels. And if you don't like how a reel looks in your feed, you can click these little buttons and say remove from profile grid. Okay. So those reels, photos, and carousels are all in feed post. And then these little things are highlights. So a story only lasts 24 hours.
Unless you highlight it?
Yeah, unless you highlight it. And these are really good if you have like client FAQs, if you have behind the scenes and you're like, this is great, I don't want this content to just last for 24 hours, then you can put it in here. Okay. And for service-based businesses, I think it's a good idea too. If you're comfortable posting your prices online, I think it's always good to have like your prices and services like up here, or like frequently asked questions or anything like that. And then since you are doing a podcast, since you have this long form content, I would recommend posting every day. I know that's a lot, but just because you have the content and you get new content weekly, you have it, you might as well post it. There's a great platform called Submagic. I think it's submagic.co. There's a monthly fee, but you can literally put a 30-second clip on there. It'll make those like animated closed captions for you.
Right.
And that's super helpful. That has really helped cut down my editing time. And you can go in and edit if it gets words wrong or anything. And then you can download the transcript, upload it to ChatGPT, and then ask it to come up with your title based on the transcript or anything like that. Like the little title we talked about, putting on the like what the video is talking about so people know to click on it.
Sure.
That's a huge time-saving hack. But since you have the content, posting once a day would be very helpful.
Okay.
And cross like all the platforms. YouTube Shorts, even though you do post like the long form on, do YouTube Shorts, do TikTok, do Instagram, do Facebook. Anywhere you can put your content is going to be helpful. It's going to be another pair of eyes on your content.
Okay, that's great. You know, one of the things that I tell clients is that are in businesses where this can happen. So had a conversation with a client a few months ago, and they're in construction demolition, and I said, you know, do a time lapse of the demolition and then the cleanup and then the construction and the cleanup and the finished product, because there's plenty of people out there that say they do things. If you put a time lapse up there of you doing it, you're proving to everybody that not only do I say I do this, I actually do this. And that's powerful, because people, you've instantly gained some trust out of what may be a 30-second or a 60-second video.
Yeah, putting that online is great. And a time lapse too, it's satisfying, so that can be entertaining content. And then you can take that and break it up, put a trending sound behind it, and put like a fun inspirational quote about what you do for your company on there. That's another video. Put it as a background on your website to draw in attention. Like, there's so much you can do with one piece of content. You can splice it up into so many other ways. You can take screenshots of the time lapse of the different things that are happening and turn it into a carousel.
Okay.
Like, turning one piece of content, that one piece of content doesn't have to stay one piece of content. That piece of content can turn into 10 pieces of content. And there you have, if you're trying to post every day, 10 pieces of content, that's 10 of your 30 you were trying to post for the month. So I think a lot of people overthink it, but it can, once you get past that initial like, I don't want to be online, and once you get past it having to be perfect, then the content can come really easily.
Yeah, and I see people on both sides of the spectrum, even just here at the podcast. Not too long ago, I had a guest that actually caused me to create a rule going forward. And so this person did not have their personal profile attached to anything of their business. And when I went to post the content, I said, well, you know, I don't know that I would tag myself. And I said, why? I said, otherwise I could recreate your website and put it up as if I did all that work, and nobody would be any the wiser. Or, you know, is that how you created your website? You know, if you're not standing behind your product, if you're not part of your business, then, I mean, it might have been created with AI.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important to stand behind your business, because if people don't know it's you on social media, then they're going to go somewhere else. Yeah. Like, it's so important for that human connection online. So, and that is a red flag. Like, you don't know, like, they could be just embarrassed that they own a business, and like, that's out of their comfort zone for them. But like, how's that business going to grow if they're not willing to step out of their comfort zone? I still cringe to this day. I'm most Hunter all the time. He's like, you're so cringy. I'm like, I know. But I'm very comfortable posting on TikTok. Hate posting on my Facebook. Hate it so much, because it's a different like audience. But I still make myself do it. It's almost like rejection therapy. You got to do it so many times, and then it doesn't matter as much anymore. So
okay, all right.
And that's a lot of my clients too. I try to make them feel very comfortable, because they do have to be a little cringy in front of me. I'm like, it's okay, I'm cringy, we acknowledge it, we embrace it, and we're gonna put this silly video online. So, because a lot of them are like, don't watch me. I'm like, okay, I won't if you don't want me to, but it's fine. Like, I've been there.
Well, I think too, it makes people very real. And, anybody that's out there watching my podcast, you can probably tell that I don't edit a lot of things out. And I think a lot of people do. And really it's because, in my former life, when I ran a big company here in Nashville, we did a weekly TV show in order to share all the information with everybody out in the company. And on about the third week, and another big shout out to Miss Carissa out there. So Miss Carissa was working on the episode, and I needed something else done. And she shared with me that it was taking her about 10 hours each week in order to edit this video to go out. And she goes, well, every time, you mess something up and you want that cut out, I've got to cut those things out and all the different things. And I said, you know what, we're never doing that again. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, from now on, we're shooting one take. We're not editing, and we're going to be done with it. And if it's a 10-minute video, then it's got to be done in less than an hour, and that's all the time we're going to spend on it. And if I mess something up, then I mess something up. And at the same time, I think people do themselves a misservice because they get themselves used to, I can edit that out. And you can't edit yourself in real person, in real life. And so in real time, you get one shot at it. You get one opportunity to make a first impression. You get one opportunity to have a conversation or give a speech. And so why would you train yourself that you get to do it over and over and over? And if I mess up, I can just start over. So I think we do ourselves a disservice that way. And so that's why I don't really edit much. If I stumble over my words or I say something wrong, oh well, that's me.
Shows that you're human.
That's right.
Shows that you're human.
All right. So if you could pick a single person or a single company to collaborate with, they would be on your hit list. You're like, oh my gosh, if I could do that, that would be fantastic.
Oh man. I don't know. I've collaborated with a ton of business. I used to do more influencer things before I dove into like the small businesses, but there's not just one that comes to mind. Truly my favorite place and thing to create content for is like my businesses that I do social media for. Like, I love them all so much. Like, I know you're not necessarily supposed to be friends with your clients in some circles, but I consider all my clients friends. Like, I love them all, and creating content with them is the funnest thing. There's no like one brand I could be like, oh, if I collaborated with them, that would just fill the hole for me. That would be it. But I don't know. I didn't really answer your question, but
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
What's something out there? So this is the one place that we had slightly controversial, and I can't take credit for this one. This one came from the Goat Consulting podcast. So big shout out to John and Colby, because they came up with this one, and it is things that we think but do not say. And so we're not looking to get anybody canceled, but maybe it's a hard truth or something that most people shy away from just saying the real thing.
Mine is I do not post my child online. I do my best not to post my child online. Mm-hmm. I don't intentionally say his name. I don't put his birthday online. I blur out or I'll Photoshop Hunter's face onto his face.
I saw that recently.
I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks after he was born, I posted a picture of us as a family to announce his birth, and he looks like a sack of potatoes in that. So, but that's the only time I've like posted his face, and it's to protect him. I wasn't allowed to have social media till I was 16, and now I work in it. Mm-hmm. And you never know who is watching. I have like 10,000 followers on my Instagram. I get weird messages. Very frequently. Not as frequently as I used to, because my target market has kind of pivoted to young women, and they don't typically send me weird messages like young moms don't. But they're weird people. There's weird people in your community. Like this Nashville area, huge human trafficking area. It's under our noses. Hunter, when he did training at the ER he worked at, I think he was told like 10% of the patients there are probably human trafficking victims. I mean, it is right under our noses. And no hate to parents that do this, because they don't know, but I cringe every time it's back to school season and I see those whiteboards and they're like, here's my child's full name, here's where they go to school, here's their pet's name, here's their parent's name, here's their teacher's name, here's their favorite food, and what they want to be when they grow up. That you just told everybody online, like, probably your personal passwords, because whose personal password doesn't involve, like, one of those things. And if a stranger is like, hey, Sarah, I have insert favorite candy here, your mom Kylie told me to pick you up, like, you're just setting them up. And people don't know, because it's cute, like, it's cutesy to stay connected and know those people, but a lot of the times it is people you know. Like, I don't know, it's
or that are adjacent.
Yes, yes. And so it's tough too to keep them online, because I do have extended family members who post a picture of him here and there, and it's a battle in myself being like, do I want to open this can of worms? And I even turned off my tags, because I don't want him showing up on there, but it's just to protect him. And two, there's a lot of problematic family vloggers out there. Don't want to turn into that. I don't want to exploit my child for money. Like, I am a person who monetizes, like, every aspect of their life. Every aspect of their life is online in a sense, but he is not. He's not online. I've turned down collaborations. I've turned down really cool collaborations because they wanted me to film my son playing with this specific toy, and I was like, I would love to collaborate with you, but I don't show his face online. Let me know if that impacts your creative outlook for the collaboration. No responses, but that's okay, because I know in the long run I'm protecting him.
Yeah, and I think that's, you bring up some good points that I had never even thought of. The whiteboard, you're right. It's back to school. Everybody does it, and it's fun and all those things, but look at what's being put out there for somebody else who maybe is not your friend or is looking to do something ominous or, You
just never know. And you hate to think like that, but truly you've got to keep him safe. It's your responsibility as a parent. Like, his life is in my hands. Now, if he wants to consent to being online when he's older, like, that's another can of worms we'll open. But for now, I'm keeping him safe. I mean, there's some influencer families who vlog their kids, and there's even states, I want to say it was Illinois, you can fact check me on that have literally been like, if you are vlogging your family, you have to set aside some of the funds from that for them, because you are making them work. That is a work that you're making your child work. So I don't know, just that's my controversial hot take.
I think that's great, and that people need to consider that more. And I had not thought about the whiteboard thing, but that is very impactful. It is a fine line. Every parent has to decide not only just what's right for their child, but also how you prepare them for the world. One of the things that we talk about frequently is, okay, where are the exits? If something were to happen, and it's on one side, you're like, I don't want to scare my child. At the same time, I do want to prepare my child. And, so that's a frequent conversation for us. The phone and social media. So, for instance, my son he's 11, and he has a flip phone. And we are not doing a smartphone. In fact, I said, until you're driving, this is it. Well, but my friends have, great. Your friends have different parents than you do. They may have a smartphone, but do any of them have a Razor that does 70 miles an hour? I'll trust you to go off-roading and drive 60, 70 miles an hour. I'm not going to trust you with this thing in your pocket that connects you to, people we don't know. So
yeah, it's important, and it's not necessarily like them you don't trust either. It's everyone else. It's everyone else looking at your kid like, oh, what can I gain from, like, it's important. So it's crazy. But yeah, those whiteboards, every time I see them, they're cute, but I'm like, guys, don't put that info out there.
Okay, so that's the number one thing I think that people need to think through. What would you say is another thing, kind of like the whiteboard, that you see is like, oh my gosh, please don't do that anymore?
anything like the family vloggers, like just like putting their kids online, like really, I mean, you're creating your kids' digital footprint for them, and they don't even know that they're online. They just think they're in front of the camera, a silly little video, and it could be so harmless. It could be a funny photo of the kid's butt or something, but you don't know what people are going to do with that online. And so really just not a specific thing, but just protecting their privacy so they can form their own digital footprint when they're ready and aware of what to do, and just protecting them in that way.
Okay. If you weren't running your own marketing and social media firm, what would you be doing?
This is a very Nashville answer. I would probably want to be a singer-songwriter. That's what I went to college for originally. It's something I still think about here and there, and I'm very fulfilled doing what I do. I love it. It's my purpose, working with these small businesses. But sometimes I do wonder, like, what if? What if? So I know that I still can, like, and then every time I do get booked for a show, I'm like, man,
I got to get it ready for that.
I got to get ready for that. And I got to lug my equipment. I got to change my guitar strings. I got to get my set list ready. But once I'm up there, it's fun and fresh. But the anticipation of it could be kind of like, why am I doing this? And then I love it. But that's probably the route I would take in an alternate universe.
Okay. Yet again, another reason why I need to introduce you and Miss Carissa. I think you all will be fast friends. If you could have dinner with anybody, living or otherwise, 3 people, who's at the table?
Oh, 3 people. This isn't going to be that profound. I would probably do like experts in my industry. I think it'd be so fun to pick their brains. I would want to be a sponge. I'd want to learn. So Gary Vee, I would just like to hear him talk in person, because he's just so charismatic and entertaining. Like, what's he like at dinner? And then there's another kind of influencer who's my age, who's kind of a peer, but she's more successful than I am by a lot, which I think is why I would want to have dinner. But her channel is like Modern Millie, and she does like influencer collaborations and teaches you how to grow. And then Latasha James, she's an industry expert who's also similar in my age. So I think the 3 of them at dinner telling me what I can do differently, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what I could do to improve would be really a really cool dinner.
Okay, so if they were gonna spend the time and effort in order to give you those nuggets, what would be a compliment or a criticism you would give each one of them to help make them better?
Oh, dang. I don't know. I love them each. Like, I don't really look at a person and I don't like to pick out their like flaws or anything.
Okay, so what if you said, Gary Vee, I would love it if you would fill in the blank?
I don't know. I look up to him. He's like the social media guru. I wouldn't want to be on like his bad side. I'd be scared.
No, I don't think. I think it would actually put you on his good side if you had something to say.
I don't know. I can't think of anything off the spot right now. He can be a little bit like just a little bit angry, and sometimes like if he was talking to me, like not in a bad way, like a passionate kind of comes off a little bit angry, and if he were talking to me like that, I wouldn't respond very well to that. But his thing is like tough love, like, so it works for him, but for me, I would probably cry if he talked to me like that. But maybe that's why the clients who work with him, and that's why I have me.
Okay. No, I get that, because passion can often come people take it differently. That's why it's important. The words that we use the right words. And especially if you're going to collaborate with someone, or if you're going to have a business partner or whatever, is you really understand what the words that you're going to use mean. Mm-hmm. Because some words mean something different to somebody else.
100%. So.
Yeah. Okay. And so along the way, somebody out there right now is trying to decide, do I start my business? Do I go down this path? Do I keep doing music because I've always said I was going to do music? Now I'm here at Belmont and I'm supposed to do music, but they've got something inside of them that's going, I don't know that that's what I'm supposed to do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give them?
I would say follow it. We're given our passions for a reason, and you don't have to like full on just drop everything to follow it. There's like micro actions you can take to explore it, and that's kind of, I mean, I built influence, I did, but I built it in a very safe way. Like, I stayed with Cherokee Dock until I couldn't stay there anymore. Like, I built it very gradually. There was never like a full, I'm jumping into the cliff or off the cliff. Mm-hmm. Because by the time they did sell, I was ready to take on more clients. Like, it didn't take too long before I, felt good about that. I would just say if something's calling you in a direction and you feel called to explore it, you don't have to dive in. Just try it out. Just say yes. Do the side quest. And see what happens. At the very least, you're going to learn something. And whatever you learn, you might be able to apply that in the future. So it doesn't have to always be this grandiose gesture. I'm doing this, cutting all ties, taking a pivot. It can be those little micro actions that you're like exploring.
I like the micro action.
Yeah.
What's the scariest thing you've ever done?
Give birth. That was terrifying.
That's great.
That was so scary. Yeah, that was like, I'm scared to do it again. Mm-hmm. And my birth went fine. I think it's such a big fear for women, and I thought about it even before I ever got pregnant. I was like, I'm gonna have to do this one day. And it was long. It was a long labor. I was in labor for 26 hours. But I had a doula, and she helped me, but it was still very scary. I had a panic attack getting the epidural for whatever reason, in my non-rational 16 hours into labor, no food mind, I was like, this epidural is gonna make me paralyzed. Mm-hmm. It's gonna paralyze me. And the esthetician? Yeah, they came in, they were like, it's not gonna paralyze you. I'm like, but you don't know. But it is. And they were like, it's not. And so I finally got the epidural because I was trying to do without it. And that was scary. That was terrifying. And I did it. And with being scared, sometimes you just gotta push through the fear. Like, if I'm scared of something and I don't want to do something, like, unless it's like a general, like, it's gonna put me in danger, like, walk through this dark alley on Broadway at night. No, but if it's something that isn't gonna hurt me, it's just gonna push me to grow, then I'll typically say yes, or I'll try to say yes.
Okay, all right. So that's the scariest thing you've ever done. What's the most fun thing you've ever done?
Okay, I'll tell you, our wedding was so fun.
Yeah?
We would not have had the caliber wedding we had without the funds for the marketing on there. But yeah, it was a wedding weekend. We had celebrity wedding planners. I had a designer wedding dress. All the bells and whistles. And my friends can be the first to tell you, like, Jordan would not have had a wedding like that. Mm-hmm. But it was so fun. Our families were there. Our friends were there. It was the coolest experience ever. It was crazy. Our reception, crazy. We had a custom, dance floor. We had the coolest... for the food, we had a live grill, and he live grilled steak and salmon, and it was just the best meal I've ever had to this day. Just the whole thing was probably one of my highlights. Like, so fun awesome. And so cool. What a neat experience. And to tie it in too, it was technically like the coolest marketing project I've ever done too, because what a cool thing to market your wedding. But that was so cool.
Okay.
So cool.
Awesome. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has said that. But that's a great story.
Yeah, it ties in everything. Marketing, friends, family, my husband, getting hitched. Yeah.
Well, I think anytime, especially as an entrepreneur, if you can figure out how your life and your business comes together.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's just, that's the magic.
Chef's kiss, the cherry on top. It's so great. But yeah, that was so cool. Like, what a cool thing. I think about that all the time. Like, dang. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So, because I'm a bowler.
Yes.
One of the questions that we ask is if you could, and it's kind of like the dinner table conversation, but if you were going to be in charge of a charity event, the whole goal was to raise as much money as humanly possible for this charity.
Okay.
Who would you have on your bowling team? You need to pick 4 people.
Okay. When I first saw this question, I definitely thought of my inner circle, so I'm going to think of some other people, and I would not be on the team. I have a scar. I have a chip in my skull from a bowling ball. That's how bad at bowling.
What?
Yeah. When I was 6, went to toss, held on to it, fell, chin smacked. Stitches and a chip in my skull.
There have been many bowlers sit in that seat that you're sitting in, and I don't think any of them have that kind of story. Yeah. What are the odds?
I'm not very athletic.
Okay. So you don't have to be on the team. You can be the team manager. So who are the 4 people?
So the goal is to like get as much viewership.
Absolutely.
So you said some people have said some crazy things.
So we have hired Influence Media Marketing Co.
Oh no.
In order to set the lineup.
Okay. I think this would be a crazy team and therefore get a ton of views and be a little bit controversial. Mm-hmm. So what if we did Kamala Harris, Trump, Putin, and Kim Jong-un?
Wow.
That would be a crazy event.
That would be a crazy event. Okay, I'm going to make it just slightly crazier.
Okay.
Because the last thing you have to pick is you have to pick the commentator.
Ooh, I don't know her name, but whoever, that comedian, the blonde comedian who did the Golden Globes, was it? She did such a good job. Oh, what's her name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, that would be a perfect person.
She's blonde. She's slightly inappropriate.
Yes.
Sometimes more than slightly inappropriate.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to look up her name and we'll put it here. Okay.
Yes.
But that, wow. Okay.
That's the team.
That's the team. All right. That's going to be interesting. All right. Last question.
Okay.
How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as somebody who can put a smile on somebody's face. I feel like I'm really good about being able to make people smile or laugh. And I like that about myself. I like that. I think people feel pretty comfortable around me, and my clients feel that way. They need to feel that way because I'm like filming them in a vulnerable position sometimes. Like it's scary being on camera. So I want to be somebody other people can feel comfortable around and smile around and laugh with.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Out there somewhere, somebody is listening right now, and hopefully they're about to go live on their feed.
Yes, do it.
Give them a pep talk right now, right before.
You got it. Embrace the cringe. Be cringy. What's cringy isn't you posting online. What's cringy is people judging you for posting online. Okay. So embrace it. If your circle doesn't like it, find a new circle. You just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off, get it done.
That's fantastic. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been awesome. How do people get in touch with you?
They can honestly just text me 615-913-0772. I'm a Gen Z. That's my form of communication typically. They can find me online, Jordan_Lynn_ or influence MMCO is my social handle. Didn't think that through in college because that's kind of a mouthful, but we're sticking with it. But yeah, or they can visit my website at influence like M as in mouse, influencemmco.com.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. And thank you for sharing the bit about protecting your children and rethinking kind of how we put things online. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, it's kind of both sides. We're encouraging you to promote your business and to have an online presence, but at the same time, find that line where you say, I'm protecting my kids in this way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Well, team, you heard it here with Miss Jordan Grubbs. She is fantastic. She's here in Middle Tennessee, and she does amazing work with her clients. If you'd like to work with Jordan, please reach out to her. Like I said it before, she's fantastic. We have some mutual clients, and what she does is special because she doesn't send you for a photo shoot. She comes out and she does it because she wants to make sure that you're being represented appropriately and in the way that you want. And so maybe you've got some nuggets that you've taken from this episode and that you can bake into yours. Remember, she said consistency is key. And that's whether you're growing your business, whether that's you're growing your TikTok, or whether it's protecting your children. Consistency is key. So get out there, have fun, and I hope that this was what you needed today. Until next time, we're the Charge Forward Podcast. We'll see you later. Team, is Jim Cripps here with the Charge Forward Podcast. I just want to tell you, I love you. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you for subscribing and sharing the Charge Forward Podcast with people you know and you love, because that's what we're here for. We are here to share the amazing stories, the things that people have been through, the ways that they were able to improve their life so that you can take little nuggets from theirs and help improve your story and be better tomorrow than you were today. I hope that this is the tool you needed at the right time, and that you find value in the amazing guests that we bring each and every week. Thanks so much, and don't forget, new episodes drop every Thursday.